Hi. Every day there are premature babies born and micro-preemies born to the world. We haven't figured out how to have an outright successful full-term pregnancy to the best advantage of our kiddos just yet, at least the medical community. That being said, we're here to keep your child safe. We're here to keep you safe. And also, too, unfortunately, when there are a lot of C-sections, your first baby or the baby that you've currently have, then usually every baby afterwards has to be a C-section. And so they're going to be taken earlier. And there's the risk unless you find a doctor that does VBAC. That being said, we tend to age adjust. I've even had age adjusted kids at 4 weeks, or really I'm like, no. I will age adjust for organ prematurity, especially in micro-preemies. The lungs maybe didn't come in right. You'll even see things like the eyes, lens microphthalmia, and so forth, where you have our smaller kidneys. There's adjustments that need to be made for your child's health. I am the first person to say you need to stabilize your child. That's a given. And I'm still working on my 20-year-old, trying to keep him stable. So they go in and out, and some it's chronic. We're chronic to in and out, but it's still a chronic over. It can happen at any time. But for the most part, we have stability. But at the same time, too, I think people think that they have stability and that everything's working, the seizure med's working, whatever, and all of a sudden they're on a new med. Age adjusting babies is really, I want to say, a foul method. I don't understand it whatsoever. First of all, nobody has evaluated your child for development. I'll tell you that right out. You haven't had a movement evaluation. They didn't do a newborn movement assessment. They didn't do anything. They might have looked at your baby's tone or something to that effect, but they have not evaluated your child for movement or development. Then you get this horrible, well, all babies respond differently, and due to their medical background and the complexities of the birth trauma, we don't know. Yeah, you do. It's very easy to tell where you are at the risk of that, and so forth. You can work with me. You can get an evaluation done any time, right? I'm not here to diagnose your child, but I'm here to let you know that, I'll be the first one to say it, Houston, you have a problem. But at the same time, too, I'm going to give you a plan, right? There's no reason for someone to say, oh, you're at really high risk for CP and walk away. That's just not how they should be working. That's not how I work, right? You need to start out with that. You need to look at, but you get this false sense of security that usually by the age of 2, no, there's no usually. Tell me the statistics. How many babies catch up in a prematurity? Right, we have over 240 million kids around the world that are in special needs, and a parent should be working with their child for optimal development. It doesn't matter if they're typical or not. It doesn't matter if they had birth trauma or not. It doesn't matter if your child had been premature or not. You should be working on their optimal development. You should be working on their movement, whether you're doing movement lesson or not. That I don't care about. Your baby needs to move. And then to get this false sense of your baby being a certain age, first of all, proportionally, they're a 9-month-old, they're not a 6 months old, right? And babies are meant to do certain milestones based off their proportions. They're meant to do certain milestones based off their cranial movements. Cranial fusion, once that happens and your baby hasn't gone into walking yet, I'll tell you right now, you're in therapy, right? All developmental milestones up until walking is meant to happen before the skull fuses. And again, this stuff isn't presented to parents properly, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, right? Fusion starts around 9 months to 18 months as a completion date, and that's when they should be walking and starting to string together some sentences. All your developmental milestones happen before this full speech happens, stringing again words. It's very rare for a child to be, non-ambulatory, they can't move, and to have good cognitive senses. You will see that a lot with SMA kiddos, but again, in general, if they do not present with the milestones, and again, this is where you do this work, is because we're putting the milestones into the system, whether they can do it or not. So the cognitive formation changes. Right? That's how you change neural mapping. If you're waiting for your child's brain to figure it out, or for baby to figure it out, if they don't know how to initiate the movement, it's not going to happen. If they think the movement is difficult or that it hurts them, it's not going to happen. And then 2, they don't just say, one day and go, I should have been rolling over 3 months ago. What was I thinking? Let's get at it. You know what I mean? They're not little adults. They work off of weight transfer and transitional movements. If you have premature muscle contractions, that's going to take away from their development power. They're not going to get stronger to move, right? They need core movements, not core strength. Stop waiting to see if your child's going to develop okay. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your child. It's not fair to their lives. It's not fair to your family's lives. It's got to stop. Wait and sees for eye color. That's it. So age adjusting gives a really false sense of, unless someone's evaluated your child to where they are right that moment for development and what you have to do to work on said development, you're in trouble. You're really in trouble. And it's not fair. And for the kids that were okay, great. But for, talk to the parents that like I was told, oh, he's got something wrong with his eyes, but he'll outgrow it. Okay, what did I know? You know what I mean? Until I got the letter that he had cortical visual impairment, but Diane had already said he had cortical visual impairment. You know what I mean? And he still has cortical visual impairment. It's at a 10, but he still has visual processing issues. So again, the time that, again, everybody thinks I woke up and was Michelle Turner. No, my kids were lab rats, but I really didn't jump in until they were 4 or 5, when everybody just said, first it was like, he's going to walk. And I'm like, okay, he walked, so he'll walk again. Right? And then, but when walking didn't happen by 2, like for some reason, there's like a golden threshold that they don't walk by 2. Where did that come into the books? So they just gave up there. And then when they diagnosed my son as mentally retarded, which again, that was a diagnosis back then, right? Now it's cognitive impairment. I get it. But they just, that's it. He's never going to talk or walk. Who gave my kid that prognosis? 3.95 at ASU in his sophomore year. I'll take that. Was it a lot of work? Yes. Did I have to play a lot of catch up? Yes. But the work that I put in then could have been so much less had I known from the day. And that's all I'm trying to do here. So please, I don't mean to soapbox sometimes. I will soapbox off of swaddling, those kind of, why are you taking away movement from a baby? And age adjusting. Again, why are you taking movement away from your baby? That's what it is. So just start baby movements. Right? Newborn movement assessment. You're worried? Do the worried parent starter kit. Everything's there for you. But yeah, you're going to have to do some of it, and you're going to have to play around with it and muck around. But that's what we're here for, to help you through it. So thanks, and stop age adjusting your babies. Thanks.